The Belko Experiment, written by James Gunn, is an intense and thrilling movie that dives deep into human survival instincts. The story follows a group of ordinary office workers who suddenly find themselves trapped inside their corporate building and forced into a deadly game where they must kill one another until only one person is left alive. It's a chilling blend of psychological tension and brutal action, combining the suspense of the Hunger Games with the raw intensity of Battle Royale. What makes it so compelling is the way it explores morality, desperation, and the choices people make when pushed to their absolute limits. The acting in the Belko Experiment is excellent, with each performance adding depth and believability to the story. The cast feels perfectly chosen for their roles, bringing out the tension, fear, and raw emotion of the situation in a way that makes the characters feel real and relatable. Their performances elevate the film, making the shocking moments hit even harder, and the quieter, more human moments resonate with the audience. The writing in the Belko Experiment is outstanding as well. It has a sharp, tense edge that keeps the story moving at a relentless pace. Instead of leaning on humor and lightheartedness, this script dives into darker, more unsettling territory, focusing on psychological pressure, moral dilemmas, and raw human survival. It shows Gunn's versatility as a writer and proves he can craft gripping stories outside the superhero genre. For anyone who enjoys death game stories, the Belko Experiment is a must-watch. It captures everything that makes the genre so gripping: the constant sense of danger, the unpredictable twists, and the way ordinary people are pushed to unthinkable extremes when their survival is on the line. The film doesn't just rely on violence or shock value. It builds tension by showing how fear and desperation can strip away the layers of everyday office life and reveal who people truly are underneath. Fans of intense survival narratives will find it both thrilling and thought-provoking. The Belko Experiment is miles ahead of Sword Art Online. Where Belko is intense, sharp, and genuinely thrilling, Sword Art Online is boring, bland, and painfully overrated. The pacing drags, the characters feel shallow, and it never manages to create any real tension or excitement. Watching Sword Art Online feels like slogging through filler, while the Belko Experiment keeps you hooked with every twist and every brutal turn. Honestly, comparing the two almost feels unfair. Belko is gripping cinema, and Sword Art Online is just empty spectacle with none of the substance. The death game aspect of Sword Art Online pales in comparison to the Belko Experiment. While Sword Art Online barely scratches the surface with tension and stakes, the Belko Experiment throws characters into relentless, high-pressure situations where every choice can mean life or death. The suspense, unpredictability, and sheer intensity in Belko make it far superior, leaving Sword Art Online feeling tame and underwhelming by comparison. The writing in Sword Art Online is also much weaker than in the Belko Experiment. While Belko features tight, suspenseful storytelling with sharp dialogue and compelling character choices, Sword Art Online is clunky, predictable, and often filled with unnecessary filler. It lacks the tension, moral complexity, and narrative punch that make the Belko Experiment such a gripping experience. There's really no reason to watch Sword Art Online when you could be watching the Belko Experiment instead. Belko delivers non-stop tension, clever writing, and genuinely gripping characters, while Sword Art Online drags along with shallow storytelling and predictable, uninspired scenarios. Choosing Belko over Sword Art Online is an easy choice for anyone who wants excitement, suspense, and a story that actually keeps you on the edge of your seat. The only people who enjoy Sword Art Online are those who are completely new to anime and watched it as their very first series. For anyone with even a little experience, it's painfully obvious how shallow, predictable, and overhyped it is. The Belko Experiment makes it look even worse in comparison.
The movie begins with employees of Belko Industries in Bogota, Colombia, driving to work. There are security guards at the gate sending the local Colombian staff home. The employees who didn't get turned back enter the building and start doing their jobs. Everything seems to be normal, but we see that the employees are being watched through hidden cameras. There are tracking devices implanted in the base of every employee's skull for their own protection, since kidnappings are very common in Colombia. It's explained that Belko is a nonprofit organization that facilitates American companies in South America in the hiring of American workers. In employee named Wendell is staring at another employee named Leandra. She doesn't like it and sends Wendell a message demanding him to stop. And an employee named Mike bought a lucky handmade corn doll from the street vendor, and he gives it to Leandra. Leandra closes the blinds of her room and starts kissing Mike. Mike and Leandra are currently in a relationship together. They get caught by their boss, Barry. Then we meet another employee named Danny. It's her first day on the job, and she introduces herself to other employees. Mike calls the building's only guard Evan. He asks him who the new guards are, but Evan doesn't know who they are and why they're there. A voice suddenly comes in on the intercom. It tells the characters that there are currently 80 employees in the building, and in 8 hours, most of them will be dead. Their chance of survival will increase if they follow orders. Their first task is to murder any 2 of their fellow employees within the next half hour. How they're chosen and killed doesn't matter. If there are not 2 dead bodies in the building within 30 minutes, there will be repercussions. And worse, Ted, all the phone lines are dead. Mike suggests for everyone to evacuate the floor, even though this could be a joke. Mike urges people to take the stairs instead of the elevator since it's less risky. A woman tries to run out of the building, but all of the walls and the doors get sealed off by metal shutters. An employee named Terry attempts to call the police, but he doesn't get any cell reception. All the employees gather in the lobby. Wendell tries to kick the metal shutters, but he isn't able to get them open. The maintenance guy, Bud, says that he might be able to use a blowtorch to melt the metal shutters, but it could take a while depending on how thick they are. Mike suggests cutting through one of the walls first, since it's easier to get through cement, but Bud tells him that metal surrounds the entire building. Barry takes charge and advises people to stop panicking. He thinks it's a prank, and the goal is to get people upset. So everyone should remain calm until they figure out what's going on. A few of the characters go to the roof to see if they can get anyone's attention. They wave at a nearby security guard and they shout for help. The security guard sees the characters, but he outright ignores them. The maintenance guys try and use a blowtorch to melt through the metal shutters, but it doesn't go too well. The metal isn't even hot, so it's clearly not normal metal. The air conditioning has been turned off, and it is very hot inside the building with everybody crowded in the lobby. Mike believes that what's happening is real, but Barry continues to insist that it's a joke and Mike is overreacting. A cafeteria worker named Marty makes a comment about how the company can do whatever they want to the employees since they signed contracts. The 30 minutes are up, and 2 employees have not been killed yet. 4 employees have spontaneously died. This is clearly not a prank, and the threat is real. The other characters think that they're being shot at and run away to find cover. Barry walks closer to one of the dead bodies and notices that it is not a bullet wound. The head exploded from the inside. The characters realize that the tracking devices implanted in their heads are rigged to explode. The locals are sent back home because they don't have the tracking devices. Mike grabs a box cutter from the kitchen. He goes to the bathroom and he starts to cut out the tracking device in his head with the box cutter. The voice comes back on the intercom and threatens to detonate the explosive in Mike's head unless he stops. Mike does what he's told and opens the bathroom door. Light gets all stitched up and the other characters find many hidden cameras in the building. They were being watched the entire time. Barry asks Evan for the keys to the armory where all the guns are stored. Evan refuses to give the keys to Barry and he quits his job. Evan is the only one with the keys to the armory and he promises not to give them to anybody else either. Bud and the other maidens guy, Lonnie, try to fix the air conditioner but are unsuccessful. The voice comes on the intercom again and announces to the employees that the death game is real. They can choose to follow the directions or not. Either way, they'll be given the results they're looking for. The voice states that the characters are free to do as they please. However, they aren't allowed to remove any more cameras or tracking devices from their bodies. Next time, there won't be a countdown like with what happened to Mike earlier. There are currently 76 employees left in the building. They have 2 hours to kill 30 employees. It doesn't matter how they die, but if 30 people aren't dead within the next 2 hours, then 60 people are going to be killed. Panic ensues and several characters go to the kitchen to get weapons to use like knives and cleavers. Marty pulls the fire alarm, but Evan says that it's a self-enclosed system. It won't do anything, and Evan turns off the fire alarm. Lonnie accidentally kills, but with a wrench. Danny was hiding nearby and saw everything, so Lonnie attacks too. However, Danny's able to push Lonnie into the wall, where there are a few screws sticking out. Lonnie is impaled in the neck and dies. Mike declares that nobody has the right to kill 30 innocent people. He thinks that this won't stop after they kill 30 people, and nobody's going to be left alive at the end. Leandra has an idea. They should go to the roof and put banners to let every car passing by know that they're trapped trapped in the building. Barry responds, it won't work since they're in the middle of nowhere and the road traffic is next to nothing. Even if people see the banners, they have to then call the cops. And then the cops have to get there. All this has to happen in less than 2 hours, which is very unlikely. Marty thinks that there's some sort of chemical in the water that's making everyone on edge, so he dumps out all the drinking water. Wendell, Barry, and Terry are burning off the lock of the armory with the blowtorch, but Mike, Leandra, and Evan interrupt them. Evan turns the blowtorch off and threatens to kill Wendell, Barry, and Terry. Mike stops Evan and talks him down. The blowtorch is turned back on, but Mike picks Evan's gun and shoots the gas canister. Mike warns the characters about Wendell, Barry, and Terry. Leandra is mad at Mike since he's not really being realistic and he won't be able to save everyone, but they quickly make up. The characters go to the roof after making their banners. They try to tie the banners to the side of the building. However, the security guards outside shoot at them. The voice comes back on the intercom and warns the characters to stop hanging the banners off the side of the building or they will be killed. Mike thinks that the government is responsible for all of this since that's who they work for and this is some sort of human experiment, but Leandra dismisses Mike's claims. Mary ambushes Mike in the stairway and knocks him unconscious with a fire extinguisher. Wendell demands the keys to the armory and Evan throws them on the ground. Wendell gets mad and kills Evan by stabbing him in the stomach. Barry uses the keys to open the armory. He sees that there are way too many guns. Barry gets the guns and ammunition. He gives a gun and some ammunition to the other people in his group. Everyone is ordered at gunpoint to go to the lobby. Annie is still hiding, so she avoids going to the lobby. Mike regains consciousness and is forced to go to the lobby as well. Barry and Wendell choose which people to execute. They don't really have any other options at this point since the banner method didn't work. And time is running out. Barry and Wendell let people with children under 18 years old live. Barry decides to kill everyone over the age of 60. It's not enough to meet the quota of 30 dead people though. So Barry picks other people at random to kill. Mike is one of the few selected. Barry forces the people he's picked to kneel in a straight line and he begins shooting them in the back of the head. Mike tries to get Terry to give him his gun. Terry tells Barry what Mike said and Barry orders Terry to shoot Mike. Danny sees what's going on and she runs back to the basement. Mike is about to be killed, but Danny shuts off the building's lights. All of the employees start to run for cover. Wendell, Barry, Terry start shooting in the dark and they kill several more people. Danny gets into an elevator with another employee named Roberto. They climb up and they hide in the elevator shaft. The other employees gang up on two people who are part of Barry's group named Bradley and Antonio to kill them. The voice comes back on the intercom and informs the characters that 29 people have been killed so far. They are still one person short and there are 2 minutes remaining. Leandro disassembles the blade of a paper trimmer to use as a weapon. Leandro attacks Terry and knocks his gun away, but she doesn't kill him. Time runs out. 31 random employees are killed when the bombs in their heads explode, including Terry. There are only 16 remaining survivors. The voice comes on the intercom and explains the last stage of the death game. The rules are simple. The person with the highest kill count within an hour will be allowed to live. Barry currently has 11 kills. Wendell has 7 kills. Vincent and Danny both have 1 kill. Everyone else has 0. Wendell goes to the bath and kills several more people with his cleaver. Vincent shoots 2 more people. Barry kills a woman named Lorena by breaking her neck since he didn't want to waste a bullet on her. Barry goes into the elevator that Danny and Roberto are hiding on. Barry heads to a higher floor, and then he hears voices above him, and he starts just shooting upwards. Danny jumps to a ledge, and Roberto gets crushed to death by the elevator. The elevator gets stuck, and Barry is furious. Leandro finds Marty and another employee named Chet in the lobby. They're collecting unexploded bombs from the heads of employees that were killed by other methods. They plan to put them against a wall and blow a hole through the door. Leandro gets on the intercom and informs Mike that she's on the first floor, so he should come if he's still alive. Mike finds the cafeteria lady Elizo. She's pretending to be dead. Leandro goes to the cafeteria to drink some water, and she sees Wendell brutally killing his friend Tyson. Marty and Chet also come to the cafeteria. Leandro shoots Wendell in the arm with her single bullet. Wendell pulls out his gun and shoots at the other characters while they hide behind the table. Wendell kills Marty and Chet. Leandro takes Marty's axe and kills Wendell by repeatedly hacking at his face. Mike and Liesel go to the lobby. Leandro is there and reunites with Mike. Meanwhile, Vince makes some Molotov cocktails. Barry forces the elevator door open and gets out. Danny jumps into another elevator. Mike pockets the bombs that Marty and Chet collected. Vince comes to the lobby and he throws a Molotov cocktail at Liesel, killing her. Vince throws another Molotov cocktail at Mike and Leandra, but they run away. Barry sees Mike and Leandra in the stairway and he shoots at them, but they escape. Barry comes to the lobby. He shoots and kills Vince. It turns out that Leandra got shot by one of Barry's bullets. The elevator door opens and Mike kills Danny with a headshot. Mike and Leandra hide in a locker. Leandra confesses her love for Mike and dies from the gunshot wound. This means that Barry and Mike are the only remaining survivors of this death game. Barry goes looking for Mike. Barry gets distracted and Mike is able to run away. Mike tries to fight Barry, but he gets overpowered. Mike gets a second wind, uses a tape dispenser and bludgeons Barry to death. Mike is the winner of the death game and the building is unsealed. Two security guards come in and take Mike to the hangar next door. He meets the Voice, explained that they're part of an international organization who study human behavior unfettered by conventional concepts. They were simply gathering data. Mike has to answer some questions about his current emotional state, and then he'll be freed. Mike planted the explosives on the Voice and security guards. He flips all the switches, except for his own. The bombs explode, wounding the Voice and killing the security guards. Mike takes one of the security guards' guns, and he kills the other scientists. The Voice tries to reason with Mike, but he shoots and kills him. Mike leaves the hangar, but the camera zooms out to reveal the sole survivors of many other death games. This wasn't an isolated incident. Another off-screen voice says that Stage 1 has ended, and Stage 2 will commence. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.